spring of 2019, the largest flood ever recorded in the lower Mississippi River Valley. Freshwater all over the place, spillways being open. A lot of folks frustrated. They don't want to fish. They don't think they can catch fish. Well, we've been all over areas impacted by that flooding, fishing for saltwater fish, and here's what we found. And so folks want to know why all the big redfish tournaments are won over here where this freshwater comes out. It's because they got fish like this. This is as fat a 26 and 7/8 inch redfish as you're gonna find. And they're right here in the mouth of this freshwater. And the reason why is because all the habitat's good and the food.
Guys, this is so easy to catch these fish right here. Losing a little piece of shrimp on a jig head, cork about 18 inches, catch quality redfish.
Big fish. So we're here right at the mouth of Bayou Lamook. Mississippi River is at 16.5 or almost 17 feet in New Orleans. Bonnie Carey spillways open. Freshwater pumping all out into these bays.
You caught him right on the freshwater.
Oh yeah. And we're sitting there catching these redfish. And that's the point here, is that we're not fishing in the Mississippi River, but we're fishing right on the edge of where this freshwater is dropping out, along these grass beds and over these oyster beds, and we're catching these fish.
That's a good fish, bro. Good fish right there.
That's how you have to adjust this time of year. You're not gonna fish right in the river. You're not gonna fish right where that water's coming, but you get on the edges of where this water's dropping out, like right here in the mouth of this bayou, and these fish will stack up here, and they'll get right next to that fresh water, because where that fresh water and that salt water is mixing is generally where you've got your food, you got your grass beds, you got your oyster beds, you got all this habitat out here, and that's what those fish are looking for.
And look how fat he is, Chris.
He looks like me.
The submerged aquatics that we're talking about can stand those changes in salinity, but not large changes in salinity. And it's a little more complex than that. So be it those fish or that vegetation we're talking about, they evolved with the changes that we see in salinity. They're used to big pulses of fresh water in the spring. They're used to saltier water in the wintertime when they're not growing as much. And like a lot of species, that's okay, that's great. Now, once you start getting into high salinities in the summer when these things are really growing, that can be detrimental on there. But they can certainly tolerate changes in salinity. That's how they evolved, that's how they were designed on there. And so all of the other species that associate with them are the same way. And that's what we need to think about. And as far as their importance in restoring this area, so it's immensely important. And I'll say one of the things that's also overlooked is how important just shallow areas, not the marsh that we all love to rebuild, but just shallow tidal flats with submerged aquatics are for all of the commercial and recreational species, but waterfowl. And that's the big one as well on there. All of the waterfowl that we have migrating to this state, those rely on those. A few don't, but most in fact do on those submerged aquatic vegetation species.
We're about a mile from the Mississippi River. We're about a mile from where we caught our redfish this morning. We've got dirty water in this main channel and clean water coming out of this pond behind us. So that's one of the things you hear about diversions. Well, man, it's gonna make the water dirty. It's gonna make fish harder to catch. But you don't have to go that far away from a diversion to find clean water. Right off the main channel of where that river water is gonna be coming, the vegetation filters that water and you can find clean water. And sometimes the fish are in both. They're in the dirty water and the clean water. So you saw us catching those redfish the first week of April. We moved 15 miles north 5 days later to Delacroix, and here's what we found. So we're here in Delacroix catching speckled trout. The Mississippi River is still over 16 feet in New Orleans this spring. The salinities are low, but this water's pretty. Even though 5 or 6 miles away from here, you've got fresh water coming straight out of the Mississippi River. And so that's the deal. When you've got water coming out of the river, when you've got these diversions that are going to come online for coastal restoration, not everything in the vicinity of those diversions is going to get dirty. It's not going to kill your speckled trout. It's going to move fish around. And those are the facts. These fish don't always need salty water. The biology tells them when they need the salty water. But here we are in early spring, fresh water all over the place, and we're still catching speckled trout. So we know that diversions are going to be in the future for coastal Louisiana, but we can't be scared of it. figure out what Mother Nature is providing us, and we can still go catch plenty of the saltwater fish that we like and get the habitat back by reconnecting the Mississippi River.